Okay, hello everyone. Hello, you're welcome. Okay, if you are here and then you can hear me clearly, please let me know at the comment section. If you can hear me, yes, let me see at the comment section. If you can hear me, let me see at the comment section. Okay, thank you. Clearly, thank you. Oluwaferami Amole, thank you. Good afternoon and welcome to this awesome and amazing time. So while we are just taking a little of our time to just wait a little more time for some of our people to just join us on this call, I think it's just best we just wait a little more moment, just a few more moment, and then we're going to be starting. Just a few more moments, and then we're going to be starting. Thank you, Oluwafemi, for coming this early, and we appreciate your time. Just a few more minutes, and then we're going to be starting. All right. Good day and welcome once again. Yes, it's going to be a great time, and then I think we can start already. Our sections we can start, and then while we continue, we can always wait for every other person to join us on this call. All right. So I want to ask if you are hearing me clearly. Let me ask once again. Please confirm you can hear me clearly. And then if you are hearing me clearly, can you just say welcome? Say welcome so that you can see people hearing from wherever they are hearing us from. If you can hear me clearly, just say welcome. Just say welcome. And it would be a great idea if you also tell us where you are joining from. All right. So wherever you are joining from, just put it at the comment section. Let's see it at the comment section where you are joining from. And then it will be a great idea to know. Yes, thank you, Uluwaferami. Uluwaferami, where are you joining from? Where are you joining from? Okay, so I think it's just good we continue so that we can save some time. We know some of our guys or people will be joining us as time goes on. Okay, right. Once again, you're welcome, and this is mastering data visualization for impactful business decision class. All right, how to master your data visualization for impactful business decisions. So I want to believe that people who are attending this section people joining this section, of course, are people who have experience or who have understanding about data, or who probably are trying to find a role in data analysis. All right. So we want to believe those are the kind of people we are going to have on this section. And interestingly, if
you have not even or you are trying to just create a career path for yourself, you are still welcome to join this section because it's going to be highly educative, interesting, and of course, you can also bring up whatever question you have as regarding this training that we are talking about. Okay, so now let's go. So, what will you learn, or what you will learn from this? We're going to be looking at data and data visualization defined, the act of science of effective data visualization. We're going to be looking at data storyboarding, how to tell compelling story with data, and then the practices for creating impactful dashboards. What are those practices that you want to employ to create interesting and impactful dashboards? All right. So let me begin by, of course, introducing myself. My name is Temidayo TDIME, and then you can, of course, see a few things about me and what I do. All right. So you can see a few things about me, about what I do, and then um make okay. So I'd like to just change that template so that it can be easier for us to see along the line of the slide presentation. Okay, I believe it's better now. All right. So that is me, and then that is who I am and what I do. All right, let's go straight. Now, data essentially, if I should ask anybody, or if you ask anybody around that what is data, don't be surprised the kind of responses or answer you will get when it comes to data. Let me make us laugh even as we continue already. I was in a class section sometimes ago, and then I was asking someone, or I was asking in the class that, what did you understand by data, or what comes to your mind when you hear the word data? Interestingly, what I had shocked me, and then I had somebody thinking around how he can sell or buy 10 gig, 12 gig, 2 gig, and 1 gig for their phone, at least to communicate. That is still data, right? But then that was not what we were talking about. So what are we talking about? We are talking about the newest crude oil. What is really, really interesting that people cannot do without, such a way that everyday activity is something we get to use. Now, what I mean that something we get to use is as good as saying that every one of us on this call currently we constitute of what we call data. We constitute of what we call what? A data. So that means we are data. We are data people, right? If I ask you now, what is it? Just like I asked earlier, that can you just tell us your name and then where you are joining from? Now I saw some persons put their name and then where they joined from already. That is data already. All right. So that is where we said, or why we said, essentially, data is raw or unorganized facts, figures. In fact, it can even be in text, it can be in number, it can be images, audios, or video. As the case may be, think about whatever you want to call it. And whatever you call it is what it is. Of course, depending on its usage is what you can now call what data is to you. Just like I said, for people around you now, if for us now, if you have to start checking, okay, how many people on this call, what is the gender distribution of people on this call, what is the age range of people on this call, what is the demography, and some of the other things that we need to consider for people on this call. All those things are what we call data. However, so we now need to understand from the perspective of saying that when you have your data can either be structured or unstructured data. All right. So I explained further to say that when you ask someone to just introduce, let's say we have a group of people sit together, and then we say, can you just briefly introduce yourself, and then let's get to know you. And then people begin to tell you about themselves, what they do, where they are from, and all of that. You will see how interesting it is for you to know that, okay, this is what people are. But you will see that 3 people or 4 people cannot. There's every tendency that they will not say the same thing in the same order, such as saying that someone is starting by saying, my name is so so so, and then the next thing is saying is gender, the next thing is saying where he's coming from, or where he's hailing from, the next thing is saying is what the other things about life. Another person is takes over the baton, and then he start from, might not even start from his name, and then start with from other parts of introduction, right? But then by the time we put all of this together, you see that they constitute unstructured data. What if we now have something to say, maybe like a form, and everybody feel like a guideline Say the first question you ask is what is your name? The second is where are you joining from? The third is what is your age range, and all of that. Now you discover at the end of the day, by the time we gather all of this together, we have or we will have a structured data. So that is what we call the structure and unstructured data. Of course, data becomes valuable when it is processed. So when data is processed, it becomes a what? A valuable insight, a valuable product, right? And you can now analyze it, extract insight, and then make informed decision. Now, everyone or everybody is a data user, except you don't know that you are. All right. I say that everyone is actually a data user, except you don't know. Now, if I ask you, what do you do? Like, where are you joining for? Are you a student? Are you a career person? Are you into business? Are you an entrepreneur person? And all of that. Now, if you fall in any of this category, it definitely tells that you are a data user. It only shows, or you can only tell the extent to which you use the data. You know, there are some people that basically what they just do is just use data at the elementary stage, while some other persons use data in a more wider range. They use data in a more wider range. So depending on the usage now, that is what talks about who you are and what you do with data. All right. So now data visualization here is the graphical representation of information and data by using visual elements, of course, and the like charts, graphs, and maps, all of these tools. So to provide accessible way and then to see or to understand trends. Now, basically, what do we do when we are using visualization is because we want to make our presentation simple, such that someone who is not even learned or who does not even understand analysis will be able to pick or see those visual representations, and then it will be able to interpret what you are trying to communicate. I hope that makes sense now. So someone who is not even who doesn't even understand analysis, by the time they come up and then they see your visuals, they can easily say, oh, this is what this is trying to say, this is what this is trying to say. So that is what data visualization, to communicate to your audience and then to make or allow them make proper and then informed decisions. All right. So now, what are the impact of effective data visualization? Do we have impact, or what impact does data visualization have? All right. Number one thing is it improved decision making. Like I said, you cannot make a proper decision when you do not understand what your audience or what your users need. So you will not be able to make what a proper decision. All right. So one of the things it does for you is improved decision making. Then the other thing it does is that it enhances communication and collaboration. It enhances communication and collaboration in the sense that you can relate with others. You can actually work with people who you are not in the same location. Just like as I am talking right now, I can have a visualization, and someone outside of this maybe country can also be seeing what is happening. All right. Someone can actually see what is happening, and then they can always get to interact with it. The other thing is it increased efficiency and productivity. You see, when you have a good data visualization, your efficiency is increased, and then your productivity. You tell less talk, or you do less talk, but then you interact with what images, and then designs, graphics. So graphical representation makes it easier for you to relate. Graphical representation makes it easier for you to relate. Now, identification of trends and patterns. That is another thing that effective data visualization will do at UET. Now, you might not really understand what this means or what this talks about. That is to identify trends and patterns. But then what it means is there is a way by which you can actually notice the changes that happens within your system. Now, such as if there is an outlier, what do we call an outlier? Let's say a shoot, a rising from your analysis. Now, how you can easily tell or know is when you visualize your data. So if there is a rising value, a shoot, that just prop out along the line of your data. It is easy to identify with data visual. That is identification of trends and patterns. So now we want to also look at what the key principles. Are there principles that we must obey to effectively use data or visualize data now? Are there key principles that we must observe, we must obey to effectively what? Use data visualization. Number one thing is clarity. I keep saying it and I always tell my students, and I'm privileged to train and then to teach, like that there's no point having an ambiguous visualization. There's no point. There's nothing you want to achieve with it. Just make your visualization simple and clear. That's the first two things that you see, that simplicity and clarity. Ensure your visualization are easy to understand, even by a layman. You don't need to explain your visualization when it is clear enough. When it is clear enough, anybody can just speak the visual and then can interpret it without having to go all around and trying to get the solution, right? So anybody should be able to interpret. The other thing here is simplicity. Ensure your visualization is as simple as possible. Ensure it is very, very simple, as much as possible. So when you have this, it will be easy for you to communicate your intentions to your audience. Just a moment, please. Just a moment. All right. Sorry about that short interlude. Okay. So now, relevance. The other thing is relevance. Now, when we say relevance, you choose the right visualization type to highlight the key message. Now, what exactly do you want to see? What exactly do you want your audience to see? Now, based on depending on what you want your audience to see, this is what you push out there. And then another thing you must do is consistency. Now, you will see this along the line of this presentation. That consistency is key in all of your presentation when you're having a visualization. Now, because if you have a particular color to start with, and then along the line you just change color, there is no consistency. Of course, you can notice in this presentation that I've had a particular tone of color. It's called branding element, right? So that is how to actually identify someone who understands data visualization. This is how to communicate. This is how to show that you have mastered your act of visualization to enable proper business decision making. All right. So we also have what? Interactivity. Now, interactivity is it enables users to explore data at different levels of detail, such that experts can pick the data and make use of it. Also, people who are not experts can also pick it and use it whichever way. Everybody that picks the data can just get to make use of it, and then they can get the best out of it. All right. Now, the next thing we want to see is the good, the bad, and the ugly data visualization. Now, we have three categories of data when it talks about what? Visualization. We have the good, we have the bad, and we have the ugly. All right. So we want to see one after the other, and then how does this affect our presentation? Now, as an analyst, you must understand that if you do not have this residual knowledge about how your presentation should look like, you will not be able to communicate. Now, what's the key thing we want to achieve here? Is communication. Don't forget communication, which is very, very key. You must be able to communicate your intention to your audience. Either they are learned or they are not. So that is why we talk about simplicity and clarity the other time. So that means whatever thing you are doing must, as much as possible, must be clear and must be simple. So now look at this image. This image is actually talking about three types of design. And then if you look at it critically, you will understand, even from view, that something is wrong when you see the bad and the ugly design. Now, let me start from the good design. What did you notice from the good design? You notice that from this good design, it has little is simple and has color uniformity, right? So the color uniformity is showing the level of understanding of who created it, so such that you can easily read this and then understand the legend that comes with it, right? That is what. And then look at the bad design. The bad design had too many elements. That alone had made it, in fact, bad already. Because now, for instance, you must also take note that when you are getting to use a particular chart format, you must understand its usage. What do I mean by that? For instance, now, if you are using a pie chart or a donut chart like this that we have here, you must understand that the maximum number of elements you can have on it is 5. The maximum number of elements. Look at this. We have over 5 on it, and then it makes it so you have too many categories for this pie chart. So it's difficult for you to even understand or to interpret what it's saying. So if someone who is not a data learned person just come up on this, it will be difficult for that person to interpret this because there is no uniformity, too many elements. So ensure that if you have to represent this kind of data, you look for a more interesting chart, such as maybe like a chart, a bar chart, a column chart, and all of that. By the time you have all of that, it will be easy for us to explain or to interpret, or for whoever that is coming on your design, we only will be able to interpret it. Look at this. The last one is the ugly design. Look at the ugly design. Mere looking at it, this is just confusing, right? And why is it confusing? Because number one, there's no color uniformity, incorrect chart type. Now, that is it. You notice that this is what? Incorrect chart type. If you need to explore such a data like this, how would you do it? All you need to do is to get a more appealing data chart, a more appealing visualization chart, such as probably your column chart, your bar chart, and all of that. By the time you have all of this, it will be easy for you to interpret your data. All right. So why we are saying this is for us to make proper business decision. Now, looking at this, you agree with me that it will be very difficult to actually make any business decision with this because you cannot even tell what element has what with this particular visualization. All right. So in summary, to that visualization that we have just looked at now, no, we have just looked at visualization now. Now, strive for clarity and simplicity, right? Strive for what? Clarity and simplicity. Maximize impact, then minimize noise, all right? Now, focus on creating a narrative. Now, this is the idea. The idea is you must be a good storyteller. You just have to be a good storyteller. You just have to be a good storyteller. So focus on creating a narrative. So don't just show data, tell a story. No, this is very, very important. Don't just show your data, tell is to ensure you tell a compelling story with your data. All right. Then also strike a balance between design and function. All right. You don't just want to push out ambiguous designs and then functions. You must be able to show a balance. You must be able to tell us this is what it should look like, and we must also understand what you are trying to achieve. In all, beautiful is good, functional is better, but both is ideal. All right. So that means you can have a beautiful design that is also functional. That is what we are trying to say. So don't say because your design is beautiful, it's not functional. It must be functional. And don't say because you have a functional design, it's terrible. It's not good to behold, right? It's also not going to be very good enough. So what we are saying is you can combine these two functionalities, and then that is the ideal state to tell story, and then you can now make informed decision for business. All right. Now, data storyboarding. If you are still following me, let me know at the comment section. If you are still together, if you're enjoying the section, let me know at the comment section. Let me see one or two persons just say something at the comment section. Say, okay, I am here. I'm enjoying the section. All right, all right, all right. Okay. All right, let's continue. So data storyboarding. Now, the act of storytelling. Now, what is storytelling or what is data storyboarding? Now, this is a visual technique used to plan and structure a data-driven narrative. Now, you want to have a narrative. Now, I keep saying this that for you to be an analyst, you must understand the problem statement. All right, you must understand the problem statement. So from the problem statement, you are creating a solution that you want to tell us a story on how you created the solution. Now, if you do not understand the problem statement, it will be difficult for you to actually tell the story around it. So the art of storytelling comes from understanding the problem statement. So if you are to work on any data, or as someone who is transitioning into a career in data, you must understand that the ability to understand a problem is key. All right. So it's like a blueprint for your data story. Now, helping you visualize the flow of information and the key point you want to convey, right? The key point you want to convey. This is very, very important. Now, the art of storytelling stems from having a proper understanding of the problem statement and solving the problem in a top to bottom approach. However, I would say this is depending on the kind of data you are working with. This is what depending on the kind of data you are working with. So you must understand the kind of approach you want to. But then, what are we trying to say here? What we are trying to say here is you must be able to tell a story from the problem statement you have gathered. All right, from the point of the problem statement, you want to convince your data user to say that this is what is happening and this is how they can achieve it. Are we together, please? So you are trying to say that, okay, this is the problem, this is the solution, and this is how you come about the solution. Because, like I said, every one of us, we are data users. Either you have an understanding of how to analyze data or not. You are a data user. It's just that some of us, what you could have just done for yourself, you will have to engage other people to do for you. That is an analyst. So you will allow them. But again, I say there is no profession today, even if you are not doing anything, you still constitute of a data. Yes, even if you are not doing anything, because if you are not doing anything, you are just lazy. If they have to gather data of people who are just not doing anything, you'll be counted. I'm just saying for a fact, right? But what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is there is no way we can do without data. Everything we have constitutes of a data, right? I hope that is making sense, right? Okay, good. So let's in case you're having any question along the line of the conversation, you can just drop it at the comment section. I have people who will just help us track it, and at the end of the section, we can just take those questions. All right. So now please note that to combine your storytelling with captivating, that you must combine your storytelling with captivating data visualization. Don't just, like I said the other time, don't just tell a story. All right, balance it with what? With designs, with good design, and of course very good functionality. So that is how to do better at what you do. All right, so the power of storytelling. All right, it might not be a very long section. In under maybe 1 hour we will be done, and then we can now allow one or two people to interact or engage with the section, as it were. All right. So now the power of storytelling. What is the power of story? We are gradually coming to uh, the key part of this now. The power of storytelling. I'll say this, that irrespective of who and what you do, if I should ask on this call now, that can you just tell me how you spend maybe your last holiday? I'm sure you will be able to tell a story around it. So now somebody will say, maybe I'm not gifted at telling story, right? Well, I would say that the ability to actually tell story, as it were, is also something you can learn over time. It's also something you can develop as an habit or character. It's something you can give yourself to ensure that you watch it. All right. So when you are saying that you want to tell the story, or you are a storyteller, what you are saying is you want to use image, you want to use graphical representation to convince your audience about a particular point. All right. So you want to use a graphical presentation such that when you see the data, when you see the representation, in fact, as a matter of fact, let me say this: nobody cares to know where and how you get your data. What people wants to see here is what people wants to see here is what is your convincing way of ensuring that you have this. All right. So please, you want to understand very well this storytelling ability, and then you want to use it to tell a story to your audience. Just a moment, please, just a moment. Sorry about that short break, as it were. Okay, so the power of storytelling, like I said, so is to connect with the audience on an emotional level. So now, how do you achieve that? You achieve that by getting people to know your intention, and then knowing your intention shows that you understand their feelings, and then based on their feelings, you are communicating to them. Now, don't forget, communication uh is not correct if it is not from both sides. Like if you are communicating and then there is no feedback, so that means you are not communicating at all. That's the meaning, that's the implication. All right. So what it means is you must be able to communicate, and then knowing how to communicate shows that you engage your audience. Now, the next thing is make complex data easy to understand. Now, if you're able to tell a story, now it will make it easy for you to what? To demystify whatever problem statement you have gotten, and then you are now using to get the attention of your audience. Does that make sense now? So it makes complex data easy to understand. So when complex data is understood, it will be easy for you to what? To get the attention of your audience. Then you can drive engagement and then action. You know, the truth is this: when you are able to tell a compelling story, even before you finish telling the story, you would have discovered that people are already engaging. Now, this is one thing you should always watch out for: the level of engagement. You must be very, very particular about engagement, because if you are telling a story that is boring or people are not engaging with it, you will discover that people lost interest, and then they would not be able to follow through. All right, does that make sense at all? All right, so that is how to understand the power of storytelling. Now, what are those techniques? There are basic techniques you must understand to tell what a story, to tell a story. Number one is you must identify the core message. I said the other time, you must identify the core message. You must understand, clearly define the main takeaway. From your introduction, you must at least tell us what we should expect, what we are likely to get. That will create an appetite for people to long and to wait for what they should or what they would likely see. When you create an appetite, people will be what? Waiting, anticipating the result that they will likely see from your presentation, such that even when you share a, what's it called now? A link, when you share, how do I put it now? Maybe your visualization now, people are waiting to see. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So they are waiting for your action point, and it will become easier if from the point of viewing they can see, like, okay, this is what I am anticipating, this is what I want to see, this is what I expect to see, and all of that. All right, so identify the core message. That also stems from your problem statement. You must understand your problem statement, and then you must be able to use it. Then choose the right narrative structure. I said that very shortly we're going to be seeing the different types of what's it called now, types of visualization you want to do or you want to select, and based on that you want to see what visualization you need to pick. Now, choose the right narrative, because you need to select a structure that fits the story. Don't forget, while you are telling the story, it can either be a linear, a chronological, or a problem solution. So you must understand, if it's a chronological story you are telling, so that means that should be layer upon layer, permits me to say lines upon line, precept upon precept, like one after the other. You are opening it in folds. And if it's a linear way, you must follow that approach to ensure that you do not even start from conclusion to introduction to methodology, and just understand the approach right from what the way it should be, and then you are able to communicate it effectively. All right, then use a strong opening. Now, the best way to get the attention of your audience is to have a strong opening. You must have a very strong opening in the way that, I've seen some presentation. Let me give you an instance. Now, maybe you are presenting for an organization like, you know, we have some global brands around here. Let me just permit me to mention some of those organizations. Let's say, for instance, you are presenting for an MTN brand now, and then while you are presenting for an MTN brand, while you make your presentation, all of your presentation is just all red, all red, all red. I can assure you, just before you finish opening that presentation, you will have been asked to close it, and then you are done. Why? Because you have not applied sense, in all fairness, to that kind of, because you need to understand your audience to communicate their brand identity. That is what, to get your audience attention. Just before you open it, as you are opening the presentation, once they see the color brand that shows the identity of the organization, you have already gotten the attention. For instance, now, like I mentioned, the MTN brand, you just have it all yellow, like touch of yellow and white and black and all of that. Combine it very, very clearly. They will be longing to see. That is what, a way by getting the attention of your audience. Immediately you have first done something good, that is to get the attention. But if, however, you do not put all of this into consideration, you just suddenly discover that you have immediately lost the attention of your audience, and then you might not even get to present that presentation, right? So that's another thing. Then you also need to use a strong, okay, I've talked about that. Then build tension and release. Now, create a sense of anticipation. So while you have introduced that, let them long for the next presentation. For instance, now, if you are making a presentation, and then let people anticipate what will be at the next thing. Don't let people just come and then say they are not able to, or they already can tell about the conclusion from the beginning. All right. So let people be able to anticipate for the next problem, and then, of course, look for a way to solve it. All of these are proper way by which you can tell a compelling story, or you can be a good master of data visualization, and then with this you can make proper business decision. Now, when you are ending your presentation, end with a memorable conclusion. You want to tell a story to end your presentation, so that you want to leave a long lasting impression on your audience. You want people to know that, okay, as a result of this, this is their take home, this is their takeaway, this is what they have picked from your presentation. And in case they even have questions, they are able to come and say, okay, from this presentation, this is what I have been able to learn, and this is what I've come up with. All right, so now the next thing we want to look at is the practical tips for data storytelling. What are the practical tips? Right? Okay, I think, okay, now, like I said the other time, you must understand the problem statement. Start with the end in mind. So when you are talking to your audience, create a scenario that will tell them the conclusion from the introduction. However, you will now need to unveil the journey to that conclusion. I don't know whether you understand that. Now, from the beginning, they understand that there is a conclusion which they should anticipate, right? And from that anticipation, they will just look for a way to, at least look for a way to wait for it until they get that conclusion, right? So that is how to see it. That's how to create a sense of passion and of hunger in the mind of your audience. All right. So you want to choose the right visualization as well. So don't forget, we're going to be checking very shortly what are those visualizations that you can choose, particularly for data users now. the types of visualization that you can pick, and then how they can align with the kind of story you are telling. All right. So don't forget, you want to pick the right visualization. So you don't want to use the wrong visualization to tell story, because using that alone can actually discourage your audience as well. Using that can discourage your audience as well. So you want to use a constant or a consistent visualization style. All right. So maintain a cohesive look and feel. Don't feel tensed. Don't feel discouraged. Don't feel pressured. All right. Now, while you are doing your presentation, you want to have a consistent visualization style. Say, for instance, now if you notice my presentation, I have a particular template I'm using. My slide is not changing. If you don't notice, or if you don't look carefully, you will think my slide is not changing, but my slide is actually changing. But why? Because I have a consistent visual style. So something like this is what you need to do as a data storyteller. As a data storyteller, you need to be able to tell this, or you need to be able to do this effectively. All right. So now, another thing is, you want to tell a story, not just present data. Like I said the other time, tell a story. All right. If you are watching me, if you are watching later, you can just tell to yourself, I will make a deliberate effort to tell a story. So you want to tell a story, you don't just want to present data. Use a narrative approach to guide the audience. Now, the next thing is practice effective communication. Use clear and concise language. You don't need to use ambiguous statements. You don't need to use ambiguous English language. All you need to do is to communicate. Let people get to know what your intention is. Let people get to be able to say, this is what you're trying to communicate. And then they fall and they align with what your communication is. All right. So that is how to take note of some of these things. These are tips that you must do to be a good data storyteller. All right. The section is supposed to be for 1 hour, and then I need to rush now so that we can quickly allow maybe one or two questions and all of that. Right? Data visualization charts and their use cases. Now, there are basic data visualization charts that we must take note, and then their use cases. Which area, why did we use them? Now, for instance, we have the line chart. Now, line chart, why do we use line chart? To track trends over time. Say, for instance, you have the sales, you have the stocks, price, and temperature over time. So by the time you have your line chart tells you the area of trends over time. So that is why you can use your what? Your line chart. Now, and if it is a bar chart now, a bar chart is used for comparing categories or groups. Now, let's say you are comparing sales by region. That is what you likely use your bar chart or your column chart for. Okay, so these are some of the things you need to understand basically for you to tell compelling story. All right, as a data user, or as an analyst, if you don't understand these basic principles, it will even be difficult for you to actually know the right chart for you to use for every visualization or for every data presentation you are doing or you get to do. All right. So the next one is pie chart. Like I said the other time when we were looking at the good, the bad, and the ugly design. You see, you don't want to use the wrong chart for the right intention. Maybe you are trying to get or to show a particular comparison. You are doing comparison between a product category now, and then you are bringing a bar chart. Now, for instance, now in a pie chart, you want to show the proportion of a part of a whole object. Say, for instance, you want to show a particular distribution from the entire distribution. That is why you can use a pie chart or a donut chart, right? So you must understand all of this. Basically, based on your intention, based on what you want to see, that will determine, or that will tell you what kind of visualization you need to use. All right. So we have looked at line charts, we have looked at bar charts, we have looked at pie charts. All right. The next we want to see is the scatter plot. All these are now, those were simple charts, right? At the advanced or intermediate level, you begin to see something like a scatter plot or more complex chart like a scatter plot. Use case. Now, the use case for such is you identify correlations between two or more numerical variables, the height, the weight, the sales and marketing spend, and all of that. And then you are able to manage it. You are able to identify the trend and then manage its usage. So that is what we call scatter plot, or that is what we use scatter plot for. Okay, so we also have histogram. So Instagram, all these are more complex charts actually, visualizing the distribution of a numerical variable, distribution of income, and all of this. So all of these are targeted at a particular design or intention. You cannot just say because you are a data analyst, or you want to visualize some data, you just bring up any of these uh, data visualization tool and then you start bringing it up. You must understand what you need to use per time and the usage of each of these tool. I mean, each of these visuals now. So, like I said, it all emanates from understanding your problem statement. If you don't understand your problem statement, you will not be able to achieve using or telling your story. If you don't understand that, you will not be able to achieve telling your story. All right. So, just like I said, how to correctly position yourself is when you have the correct understanding of the problem statement, you have gotten it, and then you are now using that to get your correct visualization tool. It helps you. So, heat map is also another tool, and then you can use heat map to represent a matrix of colors to show patterns and relationships. All these correlations, regressions, geographical heat maps. These are some of the things you can use with what? With heat maps. Now we have also specialized chart. I know this might be more advanced, right? Of course, some persons who are data users will understand what this is and what it's used for. Now, to visualize magnitude of change over time and all of that, the bubble chart to show relationship between three variables. Now, say for instance, now in your map, you can use something like a bubble chart to show the extent, the relationship, then tree map, and all of this. All right. So in conclusion, this is the last slide, and then we can, if we have any question, maybe we can just have it at the comment section. And if we do not have it, I think I've been able to just manage the time very well, so that we don't have to take too much of our time. It's supposed to be from just 1 hour section. We have like 9 minutes to go, so that we don't overshoot our time. Right. Now, choosing the right chart type depends on the specific data. Now, like I said again, you want to understand your data. You don't just, if you are someone transitioning into data, it's fine. You might not really understand what the data looks like, right? You might not really understand the what's it called now, the problem statement. You might need to get someone who does understand. However, what you need to do as someone is, you must be able to interpret the problem, because particularly if this relates with you in person, you must be able to interpret it. And over time, you discover that you become a very or a better business insight generator, right? You began to just do better at what? At getting this, at making decisions from your business. And you can use all of this. By the time you combine this together and then you have some visualization, you will be able to tell proper uh, insight from your data. Now, the goal is to create visualization that is clear, concise, and is very what? Visually appealing. Don't forget, beautiful is good, functional is better, both is ideal, right? Beautiful is good, functional is better, the both is ideal. So you don't want to forget that part, to say that whatever you are trying to achieve, either as an analyst or as a data user, you want to ensure that you want to gain the attention of your audience. You want to be able to communicate to your audience, and you want them to see from your own view, from the perspective that, okay, this is how to tell a compelling story. Right. Finally, do not forget, the main intention is for your visualization to communicate a precise and accurate information in order to make a proper decision and insight generation. We said that the goal end or the end goal of this is for you to master data visualization so that you can tell proper insights now or business decision now. You must put all of this together from understanding the problem statement, interpreting or knowing the mind of your audience or your employer now, the person that has given you the data to work on, you must understand their mind, because without that, it will be difficult for you to even understand what you need to do. And don't forget, we also mentioned that in all of your visualization, you must ensure simplicity and clarity, because without which it will be difficult for you to achieve, it will be difficult for you to actually um, see so many insights or to gather insight and then to make business decision. All right. So this is a way by which you can actually generate business decisions and then make impactful insight in your organization. All right. Thank you. And then I don't know if there is any question for me. Maybe I can just take some time and wait at the comment section, and then we get one or two questions. If we do not have, I believe some of our people will also jump on this at the time being. Please, as you are joining this section, we please implore that you fill the attendance so that we can just keep you up to date on our other schedules. All right. The link, the attendance link will always be there. If you are coming to even watch at a later time, please, you can do well to still check. Thank you very much, Evans. Thank you. If you have any question, you can just drop at the comment section. I'll be glad to attend to them. However, we please encourage that you please sign that attendance form. And peradventure, people are coming to join at a later time. You are coming to watch at a later time. Please still fill the attendance form. Still fill it, because we can always use that to track our audience over and over and at a later time. All right. Thank you once again. If there are any questions, I believe I should be able to see at the comment section. If, however, there are no questions, I think for emphasis sake, I should just quickly do a recap and then we can call it a day, because I still have a few more minutes to go before our time is up. Right. Don't forget, we say that a proper business decision can be made when you have a simple visualization. Don't forget, these are some of the elements that you must consider. Your visualization must be simple, it must not be ambiguous. You must understand the good, the bad, and the ugly designs. When you understand the good, the bad, and ugly designs, it will help you to navigate and then prevent you from confusing your audience. We've seen slides presentation where people come and then by the time they finish the presentation, they leave their audience more confused. You don't want to do that. You don't want to make your audience more confused. However, you want to leave them solved, their problem solved. Why they are done with you, they want to get answers, and then people can make proper business decisions. All right. We've had trainings in the time past that people come and then the first application to what they do is to apply the what they have learned to data visualize to their own personal business. You can also give it a trial. Just put yourself on this thing, get a data from yourself for yourself. You have a data, right, from whatever you are doing. Like I said, everybody here that jumps on this call, as long as you are living, you constitute of a data. You have a data. So please get it and then understand it clearly. And I believe you will understand at the end of the day what this means. Thank you for joining this section. It's been an amazing time. I hope it's been a wonderful section. Let me know at the comment section if you have had a wonderful time at today's webinar series. If you have had a wonderful section, let me know, let me see at the comment section. Yes, 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 yes. Don't forget, once again, if you are coming to watch at a later time, you can feel the attendance and then so that we can get to know you and then reach out to you, because over time we're going to be having trainings as well, and then you can be privileged to be a part of our trainings. You can be privileged to be a part of our trainings. Right. Want to say a very big thank you for joining this section. It's been an amazing time. And then we want to say very big thank you to everyone who is joining from wherever you are joining. It's been a wonderful time. Until we come your way next time, please let me also encourage us to please follow and turn on your notifications, subscribe to this channel, and then turn on your notifications so that we can get more updates from us at Tech, and then you can get to know what we do more and over and over. We will appreciate that you please subscribe to our YouTube channel and then you turn on your notification to see update from us. Thank you everyone for coming. It's been a great and a wonderful time. It was more than a wonderful section. I like that. Thank you so much, Harry. Thank you so much. It was more than a wonder. Thank you so much. Right. So we can also, as much as possible, recommend and refer this section for people who you think will be beneficiary to them to watch, and then so that they can be a part of it. Thank you everyone for joining. Have a great day. Thank you.